For us, it's really important to talk about why breast cancer is different in different communities. It's different for our queer community, for men, for the Jewish community. It's not this one-size-fits-all disease, it's different for every community. So we're about prevention, access, education, and really being a resource for people to find more information about, what do you do when you are diagnosed,
Welcome to the Fresh Start Family Show. I'm your host, Wendy Snyder, powerful parenting educator and family life coach. And together we are going on a journey to help you expand your heart, learn new tools, and strengthen your family so you can build the family legacy of your dreams. I'm a mama too turned child and family advocate who went from being extremely stressed out back when my strong-willed little girl was a toddler to now thriving as a parent and having the honor to support thousands of families each year who choose to go from frazzled and impatient to peaceful and empowered. Each week, we will dive in with experts, thought leaders, authors, and advocates with insights to help you thrive in your parenting walk, as well as in your marriage and even in your career and faith walk too. Together, sometimes alone, sometimes with my better half and co-host Terry, we'll explore the triumphs and trials we all face as parents and share practical tools to fill our hearts, minds, and souls with inspiration. Take a deep breath and get ready to be poured into with some fresh start inspiration. Let's do this. Hello, podcast community. Welcome back. I'm so happy that you are here. Today's episode is an important one. I'm so excited for you to listen. Terry and I had the honor of interviewing Shaney Jo Darden, the founder of Keep a Breast, which is a breast cancer awareness and prevention nonprofit organization that we admire so greatly. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we wanted to bring this episode to you so you can remember that you need to take care of yourself in order to take care of those beautiful children of yours and pour into your marriage and your community and your faith and all the things. You gotta take care of yourself. I gotta take care of myself, right? And breast cancer awareness and prevention is just such an important conversation to have now and all the time. But Shaney Jo is just someone that is very special to us. We have known her for decades, and you'll hear her and Terry, I think, really just share a special friendship as they have worked together in the action sports industry over the years. They are both creatives at heart and just both such wonderful people. So their friendship is very special. And I am just so in admiration of Shaney Jo, who she is, how she shows up in the world, the community and the organization that she's built, and her creativity as she has brought so much awareness to breast cancer and saved so many lives. So I'm excited for you to listen. Without further ado, help me welcome Shaney Jo to the show, and make sure you go follow Shaney Jo, grab some bracelets, do your monthly checks, and please share this episode as much as you can. On social, I'm at Fresh Start Wendy. Make sure you tag me and Shaney Jo, and please even text your girlfriends, your Bible study pals, your friends from the block, your college buddies, your close girlfriend text thread. Please tell them to check themselves. It's a great time to remind them, and it's nothing new, right? Like, we should be creating these habits and just making this a normal part of our conversation, right? When you go to have dinner with your buddies, hey, how's it going? Like, how you feeling? Have you been taking care of yourself? Doing your monthly breast health checks? Like, I just would love to have this be normal conversation so we can all remind each other that prevention is key when it comes to cancer, and especially breast cancer. So, all right, you guys will help me welcome Shaney Jo to the show and enjoy this episode. Well, hey there, community. Welcome back to a new episode. We are so excited to be here today with Shaney Jo Darden from Keep a Breast. Welcome to the show, Shaney Jo.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Oh, we're so happy to be here. And families, today we are going to be talking about how we have one life, and we're going to talk about how to make it count. And Terry and I are just really, really excited to have Shaney Jo here today because she is someone that is very special in our life. And I thought I'd read just a little bit about who you are and some of the things you have done in this beautiful life, and just that really represent your heart and your spirit and your work. And then we'll dive into our conversation. So community, Shaney Jo Darden. Shaney Jo Darden is the founder, global chief executive officer for the Keep Abreast Foundation. After a friend was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2000, designer and artist Shaney Jo founded the global nonprofit organization, the Keep Abreast Foundation, to raise awareness of breast cancer and to encourage prevention and early detection among young people. Now, as Keep Abreast celebrates the 22nd anniversary, Shaney Jo is the leading voice in the cultural conversation about breast cancer, and how her visionary youth-targeted campaigns and programs featuring irreverent messaging, incentive art, cutting-edge pop culture, and technology are fueling a paradigm shift amongst nonprofit organizations. Since inception, Keep Abreast has expanded globally to Europe and Africa. Non-toxic revolution, check yourself, give back grants, treasured chest, and fit for prevention. The iconic I Love Boobies message, one of Keep Abreast's signature breast cancer outreach and awareness campaigns, has become a generational staple for the young people she's reached. Shaney's fierce commitment to arming young people with knowledge about breast cancer prevention and awareness has inspired action sports athletes, musicians ranging from punk to pop, and leading contemporary artists to help broadcast the message. Keep Abreast's signature plaster cast of women's and men's torsos, hand-painted by world-famous artists and auctioned for the cause, help fund the important work she does via events at which she educates thousands. An expert on breast cancer philanthropy, Shaney Jo has received many awards for her innovative fusion of advocacy, art, lifestyle, brand partnerships, and street culture, and in the process has generated substantial funds for Keep Abreast via donations, partnerships, and licensing. I want to cry just reading this. She is a recipient of the Yoplait Champion Award, the SEMA Humanitarian of the Year Award, the MySpace Impact Award for Health and Safety, and notably in 2011, Shaney Jo delivered the keynote speech for TEDx San Diego's The World is in Our Grasp. Wow, how does that...
That's my friend.
That is, yes. How does that...
That's my dog right now. I'm with this one right here. I'm with you both, y'all.
Gosh, how does it feel hearing back, like, just a little bit about your work?
It's like, that's super emotional and wild. And it's actually our 25th year this year, 24th, and next year, our 25th anniversary. So we are right now, I'm not sure when this will air, but we are on the eve of a huge milestone for Keep Abreast. And it's time to look back, right? It's time to look back and see what we've learned, and also take that into the future. You know, what does the next 25 years of Keep Abreast look like? It's fun to imagine and to bring our roots, you know, with us into the future. And yeah, thank you for those reminders. It's really a privilege to talk with you both and be here with you both.
The other cool thing is I just love that we've known each other so long. So, I mean, I've known you. I've seen this entire journey. I mean, this is like unreal now. I mean, you've been at this for, it was 22 years, is that right?
24 years.
24 now. Okay, so 24 years. So we've known each other that long. And it's just been incredible to witness. And I mean, you know, the intro kind of says so much, but I mean, gosh, it's just been like incredible just to see like what you've done. I mean, creating not just a community, but a movement, and like really like with no limit on it. I mean, it is truly global. It is truly inspiring. It's so, truly unique. It's one of a kind. And I don't know. I just think the world of you and what you've done.
Thank you. And I mean, our relationship is a perfect example of that community. Like, we know each other through, my career as a designer in the action sports industry, so we know each other from community. And now what's so beautiful is we're able to continue to work together, and the work that you do through Blenders continues to support and fund Keep Abreast in our programs. So it makes me, one of the things that makes me the most stoked is when people, friends from all the years of, my career as a clothing designer in our little community of action sports and skateboarding, move on to different jobs or different opportunities. And then they have something for Keep Abreast, and something will come up in their company or their brand that they want to do something for Breast Cancer Prevention Month. And automatically it's like, Keep Abreast, let's call Shaney.
Yeah.
And is just shows you what community is really all about, right? Is like supporting your friends, supporting your community, and making it stronger through all the time that we've known each other.
It's so cool. And I just love too how you, it seems as though like, you and, Wendy, I mean, while we're sitting here too, it's like you have some sort of like something happens in your life or your friend's life, and you have something that like really like makes an impact on you, creates some sort of personal testimony. And then you're like, okay, well, what are the talents I have or experience I have? And then what's the network and community I've at least have right now? And what can I do between those two things? And so I think it's like, you're a beautiful example, and Wendy's a beautiful example of like, hey, there's something that happens where you're just like, you know what? I can't just go on through life just pretending that didn't happen, or not applying myself, or not trying to at least spread a word. And so it's just amazing how you're like, I feel like everybody out there has some talent they've been given and some network they've been given at that moment that they can build from. So it's really cool. Everybody's got to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere. And when we started Keep Abreast 24 years ago, we didn't have podcasts. We didn't have social media. We didn't have cell phones. We literally would like fax each other, leave messages on people's answering machines at their house. Like, hey, we're having an event. Can you come? Like, go to Kinko's, make flyers, like go to Java Depot.
Right.
Like, put things out. It's a different world, but it's the same thing. It's like something happened, and I used what I had, which was my community of artists and friends in action sports. I created something unique and put it out in the world, and the world responded and was like, yes, we need this. This is amazing. Invite us here. Early on in Keep Abreast, we got invited by many brands and many companies to go, on the Warped Tour, to bring our platform literally to 10,000 kids every single day in the summer, So we had opportunities to do things that we were so lucky, because we just started in our own little world, right? And then it just goes and goes and goes and goes, like really authentically, like we go where we're invited. We don't try to just create programs or create things and push them on people. We want to be invited and be inclusive at the same time.
And yeah, gosh, we have so much to cover in this hour. I love all of that. And if anyone's here with us and watching on YouTube, remember we do have, if you're listening to audio, we do have a beautiful new build out over on YouTube where you can actually, I think it's fun sometimes just to see who you're listening to, right? And the beautiful thing about Shaney Jo with us being here with us today is that she's got some of her beautiful artwork that is part of her movement behind her, as do we. Babe, will you grab mine? And I mean, you guys are going back in time about how far you've known each other. And so this is, as I'm holding up, audio listeners, a cast of my own breasts that was probably in, do we know the year, Terry? I remember going to your house in Oceanside, and it was like this sweet little girls' night, and there was probably wine flowing, and we were just tops off. And it was like, what are we doing? Oh, we're casting our breast, and then we're going to then someone's going to paint them. And then we will, bring awareness. And it was just so new to me. And I think at the time, I was just like, okay, let's do this. And look how cute and like little my boobs were.
Probably 2007, right before Stella was.
It was definitely before. So you founded this in 2000. So that was, you were doing it by then. And then Terry painted that one, and it's beautiful, and that sits in our room. And then this breast cast is when I was pregnant with Taryn, and Terry has not gotten a chance to paint it yet, but that's okay. I mean, to me, honey,
we got a couple of fence projects. We got,
But I love doing the pregnant cast, as gifts for my friends. It's such a sweet moment to honor, and so incredible. Like, you could look at those two bodies side by side, and it's like, look at the miracle that your body is. Like,
isn't that cool?
It's like mind blowing, they're just so beautiful. And that's the thing about these casts, right? Is like each one is like beautiful. You're not noticing that maybe one has like this woman had a mastectomy, but you're not noticing that her boobs are different looking because of her surgery. You're just seeing like, wow, that's pretty, and as women, we have such, and men, we have such strange feelings about our bodies sometimes. And the casts really celebrate how beautiful every body is, and a lot of times they help people, whether it's after a surgery or before a surgery, come to terms at where they are in their life at that moment, and loving and accepting their body for truly what it is, which is a work of art.
Yeah. And it's and I love the art piece of this all as part of your movement, because it's like, I'm sure you can even remember painting that first one and where you were in your life and all the things. And then the second one that's not painted yet, I feel like just now, whenever you do go to paint it, maybe you do that during the month of October, since it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? That would be fun for you to, and just to think what a different place you are at in your life now. To go back and paint that now could be so cool. And that's the beauty of art, right? It just captures this time of where you were at and what was your style then and your viewpoint and all the things. So I love it. And when it comes to, so as listeners are hearing right now, and they might be like, what is happening with breast cast art? All the things. So just break it down in layman's terms, Shaney Jo, what your foundation and organization is about, and tell us just your story in your own words. I mean, we read your bio, which is so beautiful, but how this started, what was on your heart, and then what you do on a day-to-day basis to raise awareness around breast cancer and save lives.
Yeah. So Keep a Breast is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to reduce breast cancer risk and its impact globally through art, education, prevention, and action. So having a mission statement for a nonprofit is super important, right? Because everything we do has to go back to this one sentence.
Yeah.
So we are, everyone knows about breast cancer organizations, and there's literally thousands in the US and in the world. But what makes us unique is we are the only one that is global and focused on prevention. So the majority of all of our work is focused on early detection and prevention. And so how we do that is through education and outreach. So we have an app. You talked a little bit about our technology. We have an app that shows you how to do your self-check. It sends you an automatic reminder. It's available in 3 languages. And currently we have about 50,000 users all around the world. So it's also about access, right? Access to education is so important now more than ever for women, for our bodies, for our rights to even touch our own breasts. In many countries, that's not okay. You can't do that. So we are giving, free access to breast health education and information to people we look at the map about the app, and there's like tiny villages in countries all over the world where you're like, how do they know? But they have it. We have thousands of users in India. We have thousands of users in Mexico and in Africa through our outreach work there. So what makes Keep a Breast different than most other organizations out there is that we focus on prevention and early detection. And we also give grants to women of color who are breast cancer survivors. So for us, it's really important to talk about why breast cancer is different in different communities. Breast cancer is different for women of color. It's different for our queer community. It's different for men. It's different for the Jewish community. So we have different sections on our website that talk about these differences and why it's important. It's not this one size fits all disease. It's different for every community. So we're about prevention, access, education, and really being a resource for people to find more information about, what do you do when you are diagnosed? We work with another organization called Young Survival Coalition. So we always refer people to them as newly diagnosed women because that is their expertise. So we try to stay in our lane, do what we do best, and partner with other organizations around the world to expand our work and expand our reach.
Families, let's be honest for a minute. Sometimes it can feel so hard to get your kids to just do what they're told. And if you are raising a strong-willed child, then it feels doubly hard sometimes. And so I want you to know that you're not alone. We have an easy solution for you. It's called our Firm and Kind Parenting Blueprint, and it is just $27. It is one of our easiest programs to finish, our most affordable program that we offer here at Fresh Start Family, where in just 1 hour, you can learn our magical 4-step process to setting firm limits and following through with consistency, but doing it from an angle of connection versus force. And so if you are like so many parents, you may be currently relying on threats, usually involving technology or candy or TV time. And I want you to know that there is simple tweaks that you can change that will help you get your kids to cooperate faster and do it in a way where you truly feel more deeply connected to them, less annoyed, less frustrated, and just more joyful and confident as a parent. So you can head to freshstartfamilyonline.com/firm and kind, or if it's easier just to pop me over a DM on Instagram, I'm at FreshStartWendy. Just send me the word blueprint in a DM and I will take good care of you. I'll send you the link so you can learn more about this easy to finish, easy to implement program called our Firm and Kind Parenting Blueprint. And we can't wait for you to get started. Enjoy.
I love it. And I know 3 of like the kind of the hashtags that are part of your movement that I see you share often is hashtag feel it on the first, which is so easy to remember, right? And then check yourself, of course. And then hashtag know you're normal, right? Because I think that's part of the big thing, especially for someone like me who they're like, I forget the term, but they're like, oh, you got super lumpy breast and you're gonna like they were always
Fibrous.
Look at you.
You were paying attention.
You have been. Fibrous, yes. And so that's like a whole thing, because you're like, is this normal? So hashtag know you're normal and then feel it on the first. I feel like those are very easy to remember. And you just do so much creative campaigning to help people remember that this should just be a normal part of life. And the more you can make it normal, it becomes preventative. And do you have any stories, Shaney Jo, that like off the top of your head? I mean, I know you've literally helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people, but is there anyone that you're like, oh yeah, there was this one time that because of the app or because of the work, like they discovered something early and then she wrote me or he wrote me and they were like, hey, just to let you know, I got it taken care of and now I'm thriving in life. Like, do you have stories like that?
Oh gosh, so many.
Oh, really?
So many, especially from, like being on the Warped Tour and being out, being face to face with people, teaching them, giving them education, giving them information. You know, we go to places where you wouldn't typically see a breast cancer organization. You know, we go to skate contests, surf contests, music festivals. You know, we're there. We want to be part of the day that you're having. That's a fun day. And, you know, we look like you. We're not like doctors' outfits. I'm not a doctor, you know, I'm not a nurse, you know, so we create an environment that is, you know, supportive in learning because you're having fun, you're inquisitive, you're drawn in by something that maybe looks cool or, you know, is exciting. So, you know, we hear from people all the time who either meet us in person or through the app. And, you know, what happens is a lot of people, young people will come up to us in our booth, like, just like you guys, they're couples. And the guy will be standing there like, what am I doing here? You know, like, no, like, get in here because, you know, over half the time it's actually someone's partner who will be like, babe, that feels weird. Like, that wasn't there before. So Terry might know your normal more than you do.
Yeah,
you know,
it probably does. Yeah.
Encourage partners to just be aware. And it's never, you know, you have the app, we have like these like check yourself cards, you know, we have education, but it's more about, like you said, knowing you're normal. You're never looking for cancer. It's a self-care moment. It's not scary, you know, and so many people are afraid to do their self-check because they don't know how, or they're afraid of what they're going to find. And it's like, you can't do it wrong. Just get in there. Yeah, figure it out, but do it consistently on a regular basis. So if you do find something, early detection, it could be literally not a big deal. You know,
Yeah.
if you aren't doing this, and this is kind of what happens without education or a lot during COVID, like people didn't go to the doctor. So now we have a lot of, you know, late stage diagnosis happening currently because they missed appointments.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's got to be so fulfilling.
So fulfilling. And kind of like you said, a lot of people are like, I found my lump on the couch. I found my lump, you know, just when my baby had his head next to my boob. You know, I was just like doing something in the shower or snowboarding. Someone fell on their chest and they're like, that hurt more than it should. What happens, you know? So it's just that awareness of that, like, mind, body, spirit, soul connection is just being aware of your body. You're aware if you have a toothache. You're aware something is, you go to the dentist, right? So you're like, thing feels strange, you get it checked out.
Absolutely. And it's like, I know having organizations like ours, like, you know, where whether it's we're not a nonprofit, but, you know, this like mission driven work where you're just like, this is a lot of work and it's often not a lot of money. And it's like, but it's so wonderful to have such a purpose driven career and movement because you get to hear the stories, right? Of literally lives are saved, right? Like you literally, like, this person is standing on this earth a decade later because I just decided to listen to what I felt called to do to help people not just survive, but also thrive. But I just know that you probably just have so many stories like that of people who are literally watching their kids graduate from high school and college right now, or they are, you know, celebrating their 20th year of marriage or something because you helped them remember, just check yourself, just feel it on the first, you know, and that's just so beautiful. And it's like so wonderful to know how many stories there are. So, okay, well,
it's listening. It's a calling.
Yeah.
Right? Like I could still be in my career designing clothes, working for some major, you know, denim brand, probably, you know, because that's what I used to do. But my life changed. You know, I had a calling. I listened. Something happened. And then there was a moment of like, okay, do I stay on this path or do I trust what is being shown to me as something important? And do I go in that direction? You know, and I took a big risk and did it. And we're still here doing this work. And so I always am grateful to listening and following those signs, right? Of where you can go in life to use my gifts, my talents, my creativity, but in a different way.
Yeah. And it's such a form of wealth, right? When you have such a purpose-driven joy in what you do and you wake up every day. It's not so much like work, it's actually joy, and it is such a form of wealth, right? Like health is wealth, and helping is wealth, and serving is wealth. And yeah. So when it comes to the community side of things, Shaney Jo, for someone who's listening and might be interested in doing something in their community to raise awareness, what would you say to that? Because there's the classic, there's a lot of 5Ks, but is there anything like creative that Keep Abreast that you can get behind? I think there's like a fitness movement that might be happening right now. This episode will air during Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. Yay. But for someone who is like, wanting to build community maybe and support, what would you suggest for that? Is there anything out of the box that you guys support?
Well, I think, there's always so many ways that people can support Keep Abreast and be part of our community, whether it's doing your own pizza party or whatever, car wash, whatever you do, you can raise funds for Keep Abreast. But I always encourage people to start their own thing, do something that's like super meaningful for you. And I actually have a zine about it on our website. You could like link it in the show notes, but it's called How to Be a Do-Gooder in 4 Easy Steps. Because people ask me all the time, like, I want to start a nonprofit. I want to do this. How do I do it? Da, 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 da. So you can like download the zine, you could read it, but it's basically like soul search is step 1. So go inside your heart and your soul and is like, what is important to you? Like, what do you care about? Does recycling freak you out? Does pesticides freak you out? Does, the ocean, whatever, polluting freak you out? So what makes you go like, like that's like your soul search moment, right? Like then, and that's what, I ended up doing with Keep Abreast. And then the next step is research. So researching your community. Is there someone already doing what you want to do? Can you support their efforts? Is nobody doing it? Should you start your own, little movement? And then, the step after that is meet up, meet up with other community leaders, meet up with your neighborhoods, meet up with your friends. How are you going to create something? Is it going to be for someone else? Like reach out to that local animal shelter, recycling center, food bank in your neighborhood, meet up with them. And then the last step is like, have fun. Like, wouldn't, be involved with Keep Abreast if it wasn't fun, cool, engaging, exciting. No one wants to come and volunteer with something that is just going to be a bummer all day long. There's like a very unique person who could really volunteer in, very difficult situations, so yeah. Have fun, make whatever you do engaging, fun, exciting, because then that's how you start your own community movement, because people want to come back. That was fun. I felt good doing that. That was the best day ever, so yeah, just start your own thing, make a difference in your community, start small. People get so overwhelmed with the issues of the world and politics and all the things going on in the world, like school shootings, all this crap. It's so overwhelming and like makes you freeze sometimes. So if you just start in your own little cul-de-sac, like that, it like expands into something bigger, because that's what we did. And we're still here today to do it. Keep doing it.
That's so cool. I'll also, I love the zine. I can't wait to check that out.
Me too.
But also too, I think, you find people that are like, doers. And then there's some people out there that just also want to just have something cool or some little, some token to walk away with. And so I know you often have breast casts up for auction. So we can also put some of that in the show notes if you have an auction going on in the month of August. you want to own a unique one-on-one piece of art that, all the, the money will, go towards this cause. Some really cool stuff. I always love looking at all the art and the artists that you've worked with. Is just amazing. Also, there's a few brands out there that do some good, cool things. So, I've been fortunate to, like Shaney said, to partner up through Blenders Eyewear and make some really great products and donate a lot of money back to Keep Abreast. So month of October, if you're looking for a new pair of shades, that could be another way too.
We should have our shades on right now. They're probably like right out there, but
yeah, I mean, there's Keep Abreast, and we have our iconic I Love Boobies bracelets.
Yeah.
So this has been a major movement maker, movement shaker, trend breaker, around the world. It's these little bracelets have caused so much movement and stir and drama and many things, over the years. But we do have a partnership with Zoomies. So we
nice.
Get these bracelets, belts, t-shirts, hats, all the I Love Boobies stuff in Zoomies that supports our mission. And every product you buy has a QR code to download our app. And so literally our partnership with Zoomies has created like thousands and thousands and thousands of new young generation that we're able to reach with this education and with this information through this tiny little thing.
Really... that I Love Boobies graphic that primarily has been a part of the bracelets, but it's also stickers. I mean, it's a whole thing. I have an I Love Boobies sticker, and it's not that big, on this giant water bottle that I have, and that water bottle is covered in stickers. Yeah. And I will tell you that one sticker gets more comments and more like, hey, that's cool, than like people gloss over all the other cool stickers I have on there. And it is just so cool just to see it. I'm always so happy to talk about it. So, I mean, what a great, message and piece of art, and then vehicle through the bracelets. And, shout out to Zoomies, who's, been such a huge supporter. I love it when, people just jump in and say, yeah, let's go. How can we help? So,
and shout out to Blenders for being supportive of Keep Abreast for so many years. And that's the point, is right. You create these things, like you'll go into many people's offices or homes and you'll see this and you'll be like, why do you have boobs on your shelf?
Yeah.
Like a way to, you get to talk about what Keep Abreast is about. You see people on, public transportation, at the grocery store. Whoa, what is that I Love Boobies bracelet? It gives people, individuals, a chance to be like, oh, I'm wearing this because my aunt had breast cancer. My mom has breast cancer. My sister is actually fighting breast cancer right now. So it's these things that we create open the door to talk about something that is hard to talk about, that is like taboo in many families and communities. And so it's ways to talk about things that are, super important and that we need to talk about.
Yeah. It's so interesting. You mentioned there's been drama. So like, did people not like boobies? Like I Love Boobies. Was there people that were like, oh God, we can't put that in the children? Is that like what it was? Or
I mean, yeah, when the bracelets first came out, which was like 10 years ago, they were banned in schools.
Oh my goodness.
They were, I was accused of like sexualizing a disease.
Wow.
People just felt like the word boobies was incredibly inappropriate. We had a court case that went all the way to the Supreme Court, fighting. Two young girls were fighting for their right to wear this bracelet at their school to support their family members. And so it's like, really, you guys are offended by the word boobies? Like, we have better things to be offended.
If I was in Las Vegas, I think I could bet on who was leading those movements of being offended by the word boobies. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast where there was an author. I forget her name right now, but it's a book I want to read. She's actually like a copywriter, but she's just so funny. And her book is called Tough Titties. And she was talking about how when the publisher like got behind her and they were like, cool. And then they realized after they published it, what like people freaked out. Like they couldn't get a billboard in New York City because it said tough titties, but like, you know, like strip clubs will put up a whatever. Like there's just ridiculous, like machine guns, you know, like, you know, the machine gun.
Don't put up that. Don't put up that. Or you
word titties was so like tough titties. The world couldn't deal. And so I love that your work just is like breaking those taboos. Oh my gosh. It's just so silly, right? Like I have such an allergy to hypocrisy. It's like growing every year. I'm like, dang it, I need like a Benadryl or something to like chill me out. But the hypocrisy just drives me insane.
Well, and I just keep going back to also like in my mind, you know, thinking about listeners, you know, hopefully there's some people out there that are like, you know, have taken inventory of all of the things that, you know, Shaney mentioned in that zine. And, you know, they're going to go out and drop everything and do some huge cultural movement. But I think the vast majority might just be like, well, you know, I might not do that, but what can I do? And we've mentioned some things, but I think there's a lot of things in your life and your life decisions and like what you choose to be a part of that, you know, I think are worth leaning into. And a lot of them are quote unquote countercultural, or maybe you're testing norms. I mean, we're here talking about testing norms just of like, you know, two girls wanting to support family members by wearing a bracelet at school. I think we're in a, you know, you're all in a position to make a difference. And sometimes those differences are huge. Like, hey, I'm going to start a nonprofit and I'm just going to, you know, go huge with this. And sometimes it's just a choice to support somebody or support a cause. And you might feel pushback there. It's like, hey, no, go get back in your box, or
you're wrong,
or somebody's going to like hate on it. You know what? Somebody is literally going to be waiting to hate on you for anything. If you feel like there is something that is in your heart that in the end is benefiting someone's health, or in the case of, you know, Wendy a lot, it's like, you know, advocating for, you know, people that, you know, don't have as much of a voice, whether it's children or people that don't look like other people, whatever it is, like you're going to feel pushback. And I think, you know, I'm not surprised at all that you felt a ton of pushback. I think it means you're in the right place, honestly. So whatever that looks like in your life, if you're feeling a little pushback, and as long as you're rooted in that very like in integrity and that thing that you're really, you know, feeling, you know, called to do, you know, keep going. And of course, treat people with kindness, do all the things, but like, don't stop.
Yeah. Don't stop and follow your heart and keep going. And we are privileged humans in this world. And so we have a responsibility to use our voices and use our privilege to make a difference for the next generation, for the future, for just our best friend who needs to talk at this very moment. You know, like we have to drop what we're doing. We're all busy. Like we all have a lot on our plate, but our friends need us, our families need us, our neighbors need us. And if we're going to survive in this world, like we have to be there for each other.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
Like mic drop.
Mic drop.
You know,
so true.
Else is as important. Nothing.
It's so true. And it's like, you know, just making room at the table for everyone. I know as we were chatting before this episode, you know, you were like, oh, we were chatting about just our own show here. And like, you know, you brought up just this most beautiful point of like, you know, what have you ever thought about like, as far as like addressing families or parents, and here you are, this beautiful single woman, no kids, like, hey, what if it became a bigger table that was like, there's people like me that really care about the relationship work and the things that you advocate for at Fresh Start Family and all the things. And so how beautiful to like use your voice just to encourage us to even widen our table. And so after you had messaged me, I was like, you know what? I like addressing this space now with, hey, community, right? Like it doesn't even have to be just families or just parents, right? And so I do admire the how you show up when it comes to doing all that you can within your organization and your movement and your nonprofit to become more and more inclusive and just grow and expand in that space and be in a learning environment where you are really making sure and doing whatever you can to make sure everybody feels welcome at the table when it comes to Keep Abreast. So is there something there that has just felt right in your heart as you make sure you have a presence and that you are expanding into like more and more inclusive spaces, whether that is the queer community or the men, right? Like I'm sure for a long time you only were like, I'm guessing maybe like women, hey women, hey women. And then it's like, oh wait, there's a whole section of men who have breast cancer, right? And like, right? Is there? Yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And then the queer community comes with, like how speak to that and why that has been put on your heart and how that maybe has felt good for you to lean into that, making more room at the table, making it bigger and making sure everyone feels welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I love how you put that. And it's like everyone is welcome, but it's not also for everyone,
Yeah.
So it's like even with what you do and what I do, if what we both are doing isn't resonating with you, that's okay. Like you don't have to support Keep Abreast if what I'm doing isn't your jam. There's thousands more other ones that you can go support. And that's also why I've been, a fan of what you do and your work with Fresh Start Families, because even as like a single person without children, I just identify with the way that you present your work and that it is community driven, even though it's, focused on families. I know that I can learn a lot from you and what you're doing, which is maybe focusing on children or relationships, but that applies to other areas in my life, So like I listen to your podcast with a different ear, like a different filter that I'm hearing what you do through. And how can I apply those principles in my life, through my own faith, through my own communities, and through how I show up in the world. And so I think, I want to be in like a family, Fresh Start Families or whatever. So it's like, how can I also be in those spaces and, support moms and, support aunties, and how can I learn from experiences that you have that maybe I will never have, but I want to have also, but in a different way, like I never really wanted children. I was like, if God means for me to have children, I'll have children, but I have other work that I do in this world, and I'm an aunt, and I'm a godmom and all those things. So like I love kids, but there's also something inside me that is, wants to learn more, and which helps me ultimately just be more empathetic to everyone, to mom's experiences, to dad's experiences, to, the mother of the mother of the mother of the mother, and how are we learning from our ancestors' wisdom, and so being older now, I'm, working on accessing my ancestral knowledge to do the work I'm doing, and I'm always asking for guidance, from my ancestors, from my guides, from the angels around me, and from the earth and, the owls and the lizards and,
the owls. I love them.
There's, I hope people can feel that there's knowledge all around us, that if we're just open to it, we can, bring that into our existence, and I'm a learner, I always want to learn and grow, and I never want to be right, like I love being wrong.
Yeah.
Being wrong. Like I can learn, and grow and be a better person from someone else's experiences.
Oh, I love it.
Listener, Shaney lives out near the Joshua Tree National Park, so that's why she's like looking to her left and right, and there's like lizards and owls and stuff. I don't think they're actually in the house, but they could be right outside the house.
But yeah, nature is part of my everyday, like, how I keep myself calm, how I can handle stress. Like running a global organization with a tiny team is really stressful, so I have to, I go on my trail and walk every morning, say all my prayers, meditate, like do all my things, do breath work every morning, like do all the things to keep this healthy, this strong, so I can serve others.
Parents, have you grabbed my free resource called Setting Strong Limits Cheat Sheet, where I will teach you the exact 4 steps I teach inside our signature Firm and Kind Parenting Blueprint program, but just kind of the bird's eye view, so to speak, so you can peek into this process and learn more about why it works so well to influence kids, especially strong-willed ones. This free Setting Limits Cheat Sheet comes with a beautiful printable you can hang on your fridge or keep inside your car to help you get through all the drama and highs and lows that come with normal parenthood. And you can get a copy by either shooting me a DM on Instagram. I'm at Fresh Start Wendy with the word limits, or you can head to freshstartfamilyonline.com/limits now. And if it's easier and you're watching this on YouTube, you can click below in the pinned comment or the show description to get easy access to this free resource. Enjoy.
Yeah, and as you were talking through, this whole idea of families, community, and everything. Fresh Start Family. The greater like mission here is, create more peace in the home. You create more peace out in the world. So it's like, I think the spark or the like, the testimony, maybe started with like discovering these opportunities for a deeper and different type of relationship within your own family unit. And in our case, happened to be with, some kids. But really, it's like, that's just like the spark. From there, it's really just like, okay, well, how do I apply that, that relationship to everything I see out in the world? I can't tell you how many like times that I've been out in the business world, no kids anywhere near me. And I'm just like, I find myself and I'm like, I'm showing up differently because of the things I'm doing at home and practicing at home, that I'm now walking the walk out in the world. And in turn, our kids grow up, do that same thing. And it's like kind of this ripple effect. And so that's not exclusive to just like, oh, well, you have to, have this little one to do that. It's like, no, I think everything that we're practicing doing, the guests that we have on, is really just so that we can live in community and in a world that feels, that feels, closer and feels more, just, it's just a brighter place.
Safe.
It's just safer and it's just a brighter place.
And so important.
Yeah. And I love, like, you've seen, kind of, I love where you stand on this too, because it's like, we've been in a lot of the same communities too. And I love, like, so when you talk about like, whether it's the artists that you work with, but like describing it as like, this kind of punk community and also the skateboarding community, I think from the outside looking into that, people think that that's very closed off. And it's like, you discover it's quite the opposite. It is the most diverse, open-minded cultures that is just like, all you gotta have is a board and 4 wheels and you're in. And even sometimes you don't even need to have that. And and then the punk community, I think, is just, has been just this safe place for people just to kind of express anything and everything. And you don't have to agree with everything either. It's just kind of this like place to be messy and not just like fall in line with cultural norms and do what I say or else type of thing. So I just love the communities that like we've run in together, and then here you've made your own thing within that crosses all of those, and you too, Wendy. And I just think it's I just think it's the coolest thing ever.
And
It is.
like you both are saying, like, let's make that table bigger. Let's
Yeah.
invite all the friends to the table. And I think, Terry, with kind of what you said about starting in your own family, but taking it out in the world, and how you show up in professional spaces, like have anyone have like random people come up to you and just like noticed maybe how you interact in your like work environment or in like a trade show environment and just like asked you like dude to dude, like, hey, like, what are you doing in your family? Like, why is your aura a little bit different? Because our chosen families also our work families, people always are like, that's my work wife or my work, husband. But it's like, we have work families and chosen families. And yeah, what is a good story of someone asking you about how you bring this into like the outside world?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes, people like maybe know that I'm a dad or like have witnessed like me with the kids and kind of see like that dynamic. But I think that's cool. And I love that when people recognize that. But I think it's almost it's more like, oh, like when people don't know any of that at all, and people are like, how do you do that? And you always think like, so being in the creative realm, you think they're going to be like, well, how did you shoot that photo or come up with that idea or like make that campaign? But it's usually more in like, how did you carry yourself through that stressful situation the way you did that, and you were still able to like communicate and like stay calm and like be true to yourself and not freak out type of thing, and I think because I think there's been people that like are on the left or the right of me that I think they see like, I would have freaked out if that would have been happening, or I would have been under that pressure.
And they do sometimes.
And they do sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think, that's been kind of the coolest thing for me to realize. I'm like, oh, yeah, that this is goes back to, all the work and the daily practice and the, just the relationship building and the peaceful conflict resolution and self-care, the way you talk to yourself in situations that ultimately brings, I think, a confidence that just allows you to just be like, we're okay, we're all good. And it doesn't mean it always feels comfortable. You can still feel like super uncomfortable, but then it's like, well, how are you going to react and what are you going to do? And I think that's what people sometimes notice as a byproduct of what we've been after here,
Yeah.
I Wendy a lot this last week saying, I'm okay. I'm okay over here. And I think it's our also responsibility to mentor the people that are around us, the younger people, like one of the girls who works with me, she's younger. And yesterday, after one of our calls, I was like, I really have to tell you that I see you like being a great young leader, like you are just showing up for our team. You are communicating in a boss lady way. You are kind. You are supported. Like, I am so proud of you for how you've been handling yourself lately in stressful situations, and always important for me to communicate those things to my team, especially if we're all working like remotely sometimes, so being older and passing it on, passing on that knowledge and wisdom is so important, especially like I know, Terry, you work with a lot of younger, team members, and they look up to you, right? For, how's Terry going to handle this situation?
And I feel like I also need to point out too, it's not about like keeping it cool. It's also about like, showing your emotions too. Like, it's definitely not like a mask your emotions thing. Cause, I have, younger people that I work with. I mean, one person in particular that I know, I can just be like anything I want to be around and like, cry in front of, not be okay. And then also like when it comes time to like not be a part of something or not join in to set a limit, not join in on something just because it feels like it's the thing you're supposed to do, whether it's pressure from the workplace or the world or social. It's like, they're like, they watch that. They're like, you know, they're bigger versions than some of my kids are like, I noticed that you like, you didn't do that, or you opted out of that, or you didn't participate in that. And, you know, I think sometimes that speaks more than any words or any winning an argument or anything. It's like, you know, don't be a part of some of that. Don't, yeah. So
that's a good message for all the kids, right? That you guys work with. I mean, even working us in the action sports industry, like, you know, there is so much like when I worked at Edney's, you know, you had to like shotgun a beer and squeeze a lemon.
Oh, that's right.
On your first day of work. And it's like,
shout out Don Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, what is this culture? You know, Don Brown, right? Obviously did that, but you know, he's the sweetest, most loving, most like solid, supportive dude ever, you know? So yeah, that's a big water.
So that's the Pirate Fun Cup.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean, like, you're in the heavy metal scene and, you know, like you were saying, like heavy metal, punk rock, skateboarding is like all the OG people in those worlds are the ones that are the most inclusive, you know, their music is human rights, most of it.
Yeah.
And so,
no, totally agree. It's a tough nut to crack, I think, from the outside. And you actually, I mean, you genuinely have to like it. I think that's kind of that's the barrier to entry with all of these things, is if you genuinely love it and you like it, you will be accepted. I think it's the people that like maybe just like try it on and you're like, you can kind of tell you're like, this isn't for you, you know? But if you genuinely like it, you're in. And yeah, I mean, my whole thing, not to tangent, I could go on a whole thing of like hardcore music, but like that was like people that stood for something, you know, clean lifestyle that I didn't always live. I participated in those. Not only did I do the tough guy shots at Etnies, Shaney, do you know that me and Ashton were the demo people? We would demonstrate it for people.
Oh my God.
So that means I would do an extra one sometimes. So, but no,
you drank in a year and a half, Shaney.
Yeah, I'm over a year and a half sober on everything. So that's great. But there was a time when I would demonstrate that, but that limit was reached, that quota was reached. I'm done with that. But yeah, it's good. Health. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've always been very attracted to these like-minded communities, even though they're totally different mediums, you know, like whether it's music, art, nonprofits, family-centered things, you know, it's just, I don't know, those are the types of people I want to be around.
Yeah, me too. Me too. There's definitely so much common ground in all of those, and it's so beautiful to like, I think this episode is tied in just so many of those common elements and creating a community for change, you know, being willing to be part of a movement or support one or, you know, be a part of one, and then just making sure that you're taking care of yourself so you can build a legacy that you want within your own home and heart and mind and soul. And it's also beautiful when it comes to the fact that we have one life and that we want to make it count. So Shaney Jo, we could talk to you all day long. You are such a joy and a light in this world, and we are so thankful for the work that you do every day. And thank you for reminding me to check myself. I'm going to go check myself right after this because, to be honest, I'm not in a rhythm yet. And I'm 40. Am I 47 now, babe?
Shows ass, man.
I know.
You be whatever age you want. Just pick a number.
7 now. And I'm like,
the number you want.
Wow. It really takes a village to help us remember to take care of ourselves and to make it a habit, because for most people, that's the first place you skimp on is yourself, right? So, so just thank you. Thank you for being who you are, for being with us today, for taking time out of your busy schedule, and for doing your work at Keep Abreast. We love you and we honor you and just appreciate you so much.
I love you. And thank you guys for this opportunity. I actually have a tattoo that says "One Life, One Chance."
I have a one tattoo also.
Yes, "One Life, One Chance." And it's a punk rock song. It's from the band H2O.
H2O.
One Life, One Chance. And I have a challenge for you and all of your listeners is to download the Keep Our Breast app.
Yes.
And in the app, there's a share feature. So all of you have to share the app with 8 friends because 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer. So you're going to share this app with 8 of your friends and maybe even ask them to share it with 8 of your friends.
Okay.
Or we all have our little text groups of our friends and our communities. Share it in your text group. Hey, it's October. Download the Keep Our Breast app. Check.
I love that.
Tell your friends because that is how a movement takes fire, is through word of mouth, right? Like we're ultimately a tiny little organization that has a huge impact. And the way that we have that impact is because people talk about it, because they want to know, what is this? What is on your phone? How many times do you tell your girlfriends like, oh, I heard about this new cafe. There's this new shop. There's this new app for this, right? So that's what y'all got to do. Share the app and talk about it. And if you're a mom and you have a family history of breast cancer, talk to your teenagers about it. Maybe they're do their self-check, but family history is so important. And talk about it. Go to blenders.com, blenders, eyewear, whatever it is. Site, Terry.
Blenderseyewear.com.
Blenders.com. Check out the Keep Our Breast collection. And
yes.
Yeah, I really appreciate this and love you guys so much. And we're just on the eve of our 25th anniversary. So it's
cool.
Keep Our Breast and looking forward to sharing more of the future with you both.
So cool. Love your tattoo. Shout out to Toby Morris. Saw H2O back in June. That was an awesome show.
And Toby has a Keep Our Breast tattoo.
No way. Oh, that's dedication.
We got these on the same time together one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. You and I will have another podcast where we just talk about music and artists. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Punk rock does good.
Let's go.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We love you, Shaney Jo. All right, that's a wrap. You made it to the end of a value-packed Fresh Start Family Show episode. I hope you are feeling empowered and motivated and inspired. Now is a great time to head to freshstartfamilyonline.com/firm and kind to grab the Firm and Kind Parenting Blueprint, our $27 mini course that will teach you our easy to implement yet magical in terms of results 4-step process to setting strong limits and sticking to them with consistency. Enjoy, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hooray! You made it to the end of a Fresh Start Family Show episode. Thank you so much for being here. If you have a quick second, make sure you hit subscribe to our show so you can be updated when our new episodes drop. I will see you back soon for the next episode.